Hello, I'm Giles Kelly, a forester and wetland restoration specialist with Wildlife Mississippi. Over the past decade, I've helped landowners, communities, and conservation groups select and plant thousands of trees in our state. Today, I'm going to share the essential knowledge you need to choose the right trees for your specific location and plant them successfully. Whether you're planting an urban streetscape, restoring a residential landscape, or working on a large-scale conservation project, the principles I'll cover will set your trees up for decades of healthy growth.
When selecting a site to plant your tree, the two most important things to think about are hazards and the soils of your site. Let's cover the topic of hazards first. When thinking of your potential tree planting site, are there any above ground or below ground utilities such as power lines, gas lines, water lines, sewage systems, or communication lines? To ensure that you have chosen a suitable location to dig your planting hole, call 811 for a free before you dig evaluation. It is important to know your hardiness zone and native species. Here in Mississippi, we're blessed with species adapted to our climate, from bald cypress in wetlands to live oaks along the coast. Native trees require less maintenance, support local wildlife, and have natural resistance to regional pests and disease. The next consideration in choosing your planting site will be determining the quality and properties of your soil. Soil depth, fertility, texture, and drainage are important factors in selecting a suitable site. Initially, you may have a good understanding of the soil you are planning to plant in. There are additional tools that can help identify the quality and properties of your soil. Web Soil Survey is an online tool created and maintained by the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service that allows users to access soil data and information for the United States. Soil samples can also be sent in for testing at local soil laboratories for a small fee. An example of this would be through the Mississippi State University Extension Service's Soil Laboratory. You can also consider using more water-tolerant species, such as bald cypress, red maple, river birch, overcup oak, willow oak, or American sycamore. Soil should also be examined for compaction before planting. Species selection. Choosing a species based on the region where planting will occur, characteristics of your site, and the purpose for planting is key. Qualities such as the average growth height, associated maintenance, and suitability to soil drainage are important aspects to consider when selecting a tree species. It is also important to identify the purpose of your planting. Examples of SALT benefits may include provision of shade, seasonal color, windscreen, or any combination of these. The planting of trees around homes can also increase property values by presenting better curb appeal, creating privacy, and reducing noise pollution. Mature trees also help manage water runoff to reduce soil erosion. If planting trees to aid with your summer cooling, consider planting deciduous trees on the south and west side of your building. Doing this will help block the hot afternoon sun. If the goal of your planting is to create a windbreak and reduce heating expenses in the winter, consider planting evergreen trees such as pines, cedars, or hollies on the north and northwest sides of your building. Planting evergreen species such as these in a row or staggered pattern 2 to 3 times their mature height away from the building will help to reduce drafting of cold air during north winter winds. Once you have selected your desired site, determined the associated soil characteristics, and chosen your purpose for planting, you can begin narrowing down which tree species will best suit your needs. The most critical decision you'll make isn't how you'll plant your tree, it's which tree to plant. The wrong species in the wrong location leads to costly failures, property damage, and wasted effort. For example, if you are looking for a medium to large shade tree that is most suited to well-drained soil, you can consider tree species such as Shemard oak, cedar elm, or tulip poplar. On a poorly drained soil, better suited species could include bald cypress, overcup oak, or swamp chestnut oak. Finding the answers to these questions prior to the actual selection will help determine the right tree for the site. However, should you have any trouble answering these questions, contact your local certified arborist, tree care professional, garden center, or county extension agent for assistance. Their assistance can help you ensure a successful outcome. Planting your tree. Proper tree planting starts with careful tree transport. Be sure to protect the roots, stems, and foliage, and shield the tops from wind. Never lift a tree by its trunk. Always support it from beneath the root ball while transporting by hand or when using equipment. When planting a tree, begin by inspecting the root ball. Remove all wrapping materials, especially synthetic fabrics or treated burlap that won't break down, and cut away any rope from the trunk, as both natural and nylon fibers can girdle stems and roots. For container-grown trees, remove plastic pots completely, and for fiber pots, remove the entire pot, as coatings often slow root development. If roots are circling the outside of the ball, slice through them in several places to prevent girdling and encourage outward growth. When pruning roots that have begun to spiral around the root ball, make 2 pruning cuts so that the remaining root tips are facing outward from the center of the ball. This will promote root growth laterally. After assessing and pruning the root ball, measure the depth of the ball from its bottom to the root flare. This measurement will give you your desired depth of your planting hole. Lightly water the ball and place it back into the original container to prevent the roots from drying while you prepare your planting hole. Next, prepare the planting hole. Dig it 2 to 3 times wider than the root ball, but no deeper, and in poorly drained soils, make the hole 1 to 2 inches shallower. Always set the tree so the root flare is at or slightly above ground level. Never plant too deep. Avoid putting loose soil beneath the tree, since it can settle over time and bury the roots. Shape the hole wider at the top where most root growth occurs, and if using machinery like an auger or backhoe, roughen or score the sides of the hole to prevent glazing. Backfill with the existing soil only. Don't mix in any organic matter, which can interfere with water movement and root establishment. Fill halfway, water thoroughly, and eliminate air pockets. Then complete backfilling and water again. Cover any exposed root ball with mulch, keeping mulch pulled back from the trunk. Build a small earthen berm around the drip line to catch water and allow it to soak in slowly. Finally, only use slow-release fertilizer if a soil test indicates a need, and avoid fast-release fertilizers that can damage young roots. Finishing the planting job. Wrapping up the tree planting job is about making sure everything is secure and set for healthy growth. After watering and mulching, check the tree's stability. Newly planted trees often need staking until their roots establish, usually for about 6 months to a year and a half. There are several ways to stake a tree, but in this example, we'll use 2 stakes with vinyl flagging, which provides gentle support without cutting into the bark. In public or high traffic areas, stronger materials like wire may be more appropriate. Whatever method you choose, the trees should have enough flexibility to sway slightly, since the movement helps strengthen roots. Next, confirm that the mulch is spread evenly but kept back from the trunk, the root flare is visible, and the tree is standing straight and level. Finally, check that your water basin is intact and plan a regular watering schedule for the coming months. Taking these extra steps helps ensure the tree establishes quickly and thrives in its new site.
Remember, right tree, right place, proper technique. Take time to research, prepare thoroughly, and your investment will provide benefits for generations to come. For more resources on native tree species selections and conservation programs, visit Wildlife Mississippi's website. Happy planting!